What's going on YouTube? Got another knife review here for you. This is the Les George VECP, which means Value Engineering Change Proposal. Basically, this is what they call a mid-tech knife, where custom maker Les George kind of outsources some of the pieces on this knife. I believe the blade is one of them, where it's CNC machined, made of CTS XHP steel, which is a highly regarded steel. I think a lot of people have indicated that it's better than S30V in terms of blade edge retention and corrosion resistance and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have too much experience with XHP. The only other XHP blade that I have is my Hinder here. So I haven't really used this hard yet, but you know, again, XHP is supposed to be a pretty great steel. This is a knife that I have had my eye on for for a long time now. This is from the second batch that Les just sent out, and one of my buddies on Blade forums and on YouTube. He's kind of a new guy on YouTube, JDev. This guy's got some pretty rockin' knives, and he's a big Wilkins and Wilkins grip, like Ritter, Griptilian, those kind of knife. He's got a lot of those. He had a bunch of titanium grips, which is really rare to come by, and he knew that I was looking for a VCP, so he just got this one completely brand new. This is spotless, and hopefully I can get through this video without scratching anything or marking this titanium. Pretty anal like that. But especially, you know, with a new knife and all that stuff. So this knife is completely spotless. It's never actually been in my pocket yet. So I don't know how well I can really give a review of it, but this is my general impressions, in terms of comfort level and how it compares to some of these other knives. This knife for sure has a pretty, it's starting to break in a little bit as I've been trying to open it up, but the detent is pretty strong on this knife. And you really have to open it a certain way. There's a little bit of lock stickiness, but basically with this knife you really have to push up and forward. You can't like push to the side or anything like that, otherwise the detent's going to really snag on you. But here you have, it's a 3.4 inch blade, again, of CTS XHP, which is carpenter steel. Titanium slabs. It's got this kind of a Lishowitz looking spoon clip. It's got a Hinder lock bar stabilizer, which is kind of hidden by this clip. Single stop pin right here, and then double thumb studs, and then this George, I guess engraving on his blade. It symbolizes that this is a mid-tech, so it's an outsourced piece. His customs has the little I guess kind of cross figure, G10 backspacer, and then blade thickness is 0.15 inches, as well as the titanium slab, so everything is even 0.15 inches. Outside of that, I believe it's got a carbonized lock face for its locking frame lock, and then it's got a deep cutout here as well for where the frame lock will, where the spring of the frame lock works. One of the main things about this knife that makes it stand out is this deep choil right here, and so it really makes for a very, very comfortable grip on this Les George, and it does give a lot of real estate, as some other people on some reviews have mentioned. A lot of real estate. It's a longer handle, substantially longer than the Sebenza, I think. Half inch on a handle is pretty substantial, I think. But you can obviously see that the Sebenza packs more blade in a smaller handle. And this is the knife that I think a lot of people feel like this is one that's going to give the Sebenza a run for its money. And I mean, I don't know what I think about that. It is definitely an awesome blade. Right now it's marked up, anywhere between 100 to 150 bucks on the secondary market. And more just because of the demand. Sebenzas are actually selling for less than $100, from its original price, especially if they're used, just because they're all out there, But in terms of fit and finish and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's fair to say that the Les George can give the Sebenza a run for its money, especially, this is not a full custom, and neither is the Sebenza, but, they're both really similar. I mean, if you just look at this one, obviously this has micarta inlays, which to me makes this kind of Sebenza stand out much more than the VECP. If Les George could do something where he could put some inlays on this blade, kind of give it a little more thickness and a little more just beefiness to the handle, so it fits your hand even better, I think that would be really, really awesome. But yeah, again, as it stands, if you look at the blade edge, the sweep, it's pretty similar. This one's got a nice, swedge going down on the top of the spine here. Pivot system, I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's just a normal, a joint system that the blade kind of rolls around, versus the Sebenza with the special bushing that goes around. However, I kind of tightened the screw down. I loosened it a little bit to see if the detent would help with the detent, and it didn't make a difference. The centering didn't move at all when I loosened it, and when I cranked it down to full tightness, it didn't change the action of the blade as well. So fit and finish of the VECP is definitely, I would say on par with the Sebenza. You got a little lanyard hole and all that kind of stuff. But as I was comparing, especially grip, this grip feels, when I first held it, I was like, wow, this is such a comfortable knife and all that kind of stuff. And then I gripped the Sebenza and I was like, yeah, this is still a really comfortable knife. It feels great and all that kind of stuff. You don't have the choil, but you do have, a little bit of, room for your finger to move. And something about the straight edges on the Sebenza or the, the Umnumzan, they just feel great in your hand. It's the tried and true, kind of, grip. A straight knife handle, is just, I don't know, I'm not just as comfortable. I mean, like, my Emersons are like ridiculously comfortable in hand, but a straight handled blade or handle, I think, feels so good. Just a little bit of curves. The Umnumzan has a little bit of, like, tiny bitty choil here. The Sebenza's got this little curve here. So I don't know how necessary. I mean, it's nice, if for a stabbing motion or something, that this deeper choil will prevent any kind of movement. And it does fit perfectly. Your index fits here. These other three kind of just fit around. The rest of this is pretty straight. You got this little G10 spacer here, nicely curved, so it does fit the palm really, really well. I mean, it does feel like a good extension of your hand. This is a lot of titanium goodness right here. My TSF Beast right here, 3-inch blade, compared against, here's my Freed Mare, this just monstrous blade. Just want to kind of throw that out there right now. 4.6-inch blade. And then the J. Kobach A1 or A10, I can never get it right. But it's just a really beautiful, I love titanium, man. And when you put the Sebenza with the micarta, is just, oh man, it just looks so good. So again, these knives, titanium is definitely my favorite material, and essentially these three right here are pretty much the same in terms of the blade shape, the curve on the blade, the sweeping belly. This one, I kind of got this one instead of a small Sebenza. I just like the fact that it's a little bit more stout than the Sebenza, a little thicker blade, more capable. This custom is a pretty great blade too. Just really thick slabs of titanium for the handle and all that kind of stuff. This is 0.15 inches. These are 0.2 inch blade handles. So overall, I think the Les George, in of itself, with no comparisons to any other knife, it is an awesome knife. At $395, if you could get it for that price from Les George, it's an awesome, awesome knife, and I think it compares with a plain, large 21 easily. It's got a thicker blade. It's got XHP versus S35. Both are going to have plain titanium handles. It's got a G10 spacer versus the blue titanium pillar, on the Sebenza, or even on the Umnumzan. It's got the special little pillar design, all that kind of stuff. This one has got two screws, not a bowl pivot, but the tolerances on Umnumzan are awesome. But if you do loosen the pin at all or tighten it down, crank it down, then the blade's not gonna. It's either gonna be off-centered or it's not gonna move very well. So it definitely, these two knives compare against, they compare really well against each other. The fact that you can get a somewhat used Sebenza right now on the secondary market, I just saw one go for $285, man. That's crazy. So the fact that you can get a Sebenza for anywhere between $300 to $325, maybe, I think is reasonable on the secondary market. And these go for anywhere between $500 or $450 to, like, I don't know, $550 or so. I would definitely say that the Sebenza is the better buy. I still think it's the quintessential example of a folder, frame lock folder, titanium, and just craftsmanship and fit and finish. But the Les George is definitely not far behind. If I were to rate the Sebenza at a 10, like the perfect EDC knife, I think the Les George would easily be like a 9.5. Some people will think it's better. They would rate the Sebenza as a 9. They'd rate the VECP as a 9.5 or 10. Simply just because the thickness of the blade and just the handle and all that kind of stuff. They feel like the common thought that's been out there is that this gets everything that Sebenza got right and then some. So, but again, that's for whoever's opinion. They're entitled to their own opinions and all that kind of stuff. I definitely think the Les George is an awesome knife. I don't plan on getting rid of it right now. So anyway, so those are my little thoughts on the Les George, stonewash blade and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully I'll get to using this blade. Right now I'm kind of just waiting and seeing what happens. So anyway, that's the Les George VECP. Let me know what you guys think on the comments down below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next vid. Alright, bye.